It should, I think it would come up right above the where it says physical science in that yellow box. There should be an announcement right above it. I just need to know if it showed up or not on your end.
You have to say the needed Donata. Or you can say
All I see is during remote learning, we will have class via Google Meet 10:30 to
Okay,
11.
but up above that, is there anything? Because on my end, I had hidden something and I'm thinking I've got to unhide it.
Yeah, I don't see anything.
Okay, that's what I was afraid of. All right. In just a minute, I'm going to have you refresh
Okay.
because I'm going to see. Let me make sure I save it. All right. If you refresh that page, do you see a little announcement box that says Google Meet Makeup Assignments Explained?
it's not saying anything.
Just wait.
I went to announcements and I
All right.
have
It
it now.
shouldn't just be under announcements. Is it not popping up on the main? That's what I'm confused about. I was
It's not
wanting it to pop
popping
up
up
on.
on the phone, no.
It should have. That's the thing. What do I have? Let me go to student view real quick. Well, poo. What have I done wrong? Okay, so let me go here. All right, I got to fix that. At some point, oop, fiddledy. You're going to need to look at that video that I put there, and I'm going to try to get it to where it will post where it's supposed to post.
Okay.
It's real frustrating. It's not going where I want it to go. Um, Before we move on to covalent bonding, I wanted us to have to do a quiz on everything we've done so far. So I've got a little Kahoot, but it's going to be kind of hard. Oh, there's Nicholas. So if you know how to kind of drag a window, make your windows smaller and have two windows side by side so you can have the Google Meet showing on one and then a new tab in a new window on the other side so we can get to Kahoot and we'll practice we'll review with a Kahoot. And then I'll make the quiz live for you.
So
Was
basically, pull up a new tab.
And then if you drag, oh, let me share. Hold on, let me share my. I can kind of show you how to do it. I can't show you exactly on here. Um, oh, and I need to record. Let me do the. Oh, I am recording. Good. Okay. So, see how I've got three tabs here? If I
Yeah.
wanted Kahoot to be in its own window, I would kind of pull it out and it would, and you may not see it because I have mine set weird. It would be in its own window. So it'd be separate. It wouldn't be up there in my list of tabs anymore. And
Okay.
then you can make it smaller and make the Google Meet one smaller so you can see it, sort of see them side by side because you'll need to be able to see the question that pops up on the Google Meet. And then you can put your answers in on Kahoot.it when I get you logged in. Does that make
So
sense?
good. Dot it.
Yeah, Kahoot.it. And then in just a minute,
Let me pull this up.
and you'll have to have, the two windows kind of side by side so that you can see. Now, if you happen, you can always, you can always get Kahoot on your phone and
Yeah.
you can always play that way.
Okay.
but not everybody has that ability, to get the various apps. So,
Yeah.
I'm trying to get the meat side by side with the.
hold on, let me mute this. How can I mute this music? Ah, there we go. All right, what were you saying, James? Because I couldn't hear everything.
I'm
How's it
still
go
trying to
side
figure
by
out how to do the side by side.
All right, if you go to the upper right hand in the gray box where all the tabs are up here, see this little button here? It
Yeah.
says maximize, you can minimize it.
Oh.
And when you minimize it, it's smaller, right?
Yeah.
So you can do that to that window and do that to the one with the Google Meet. And then you can drag the two sort of right beside each other.
I
You may
got it.
have to go
Oh, you
down
can
to
do it with the
Chrome
individual
and
tabs too.
what, Nicholas?
You can do it with the individual tabs too. Say if you clicked
Yeah.
on the tab bar right there, the tab Kahoot tab, and you pull it to the very right, it'll stick to the right side, and then you go back to that screen, and then you go to the Google Meet and you pull it to the very left side, and it will stand on the left side. That's how I got mine right now.
Okay. There's a couple different ways. As a teacher, I can get a extension where I can split my screen and I can just choose that and it automatically splits it. So, but have you got it where you can see both, James? All
Yep.
right. So at Kahoot.it, go ahead and put this password in 4819708. And then type in your name and we should be good to go.
My dad just messaged me.
All right, we good?
Yep.
I'll turn that music down some in case I need to hear. All right, I'm going to start it. All right, what type of elements typically in ionic compounds? What are ionic compounds made up of? We've got metals and nonmetals, two different metals, or only metals. Get you a spoon. So you need the rest of it. Oh, okay. All right. Ionic compounds will always be made up of a metal and a non-metal. And if you listen to one of the lessons I put up, in place of a non-metal, sometimes you will have what is called a polyatomic ion, but it's going to be two non-metals that are together. So a metal and a non-metal. Very important to know that piece. What charge would you predict selenium to form when it makes an ion? So you would need to look at your periodic table, and we may not have enough time. I will tell you it will not be zero.
Oops.
And without me having a periodic table up,
Well, that was
let's see which one it says. -2. So it should be in column. Trying to call one up so I can look at it. It should be in column 16 or 6A. And so it would have a -2 charge. And I believe its symbol is Se. I was trying to get a picture up so I could actually, oh, there's the one I want. I could actually see it. So on questions like this, you have to use your periodic table. So either have it open, the link I put in Canvas open in another tab, or so that you can get to it. or if you have the ability to print, then you can have a printed copy with you when you take a quiz. All right, so selenium Se is in the same column as oxygen. So it's in group 6A or group 16. It would need to have two more electrons, so it's a -2 charge. And that was in one of the lessons I've posted in one of the Google Meets. All right, again, we're going to use the periodic table. Radium, radium. That's going to be in, it's a metal. It's going to be in group 2. So what kind of charge would it have?
I'm getting it pulled up.
Pretty sure.
Well,
If it's
No,
in group
I messed,
2, what charge would it have?
I think I messed that up. I don't know. No,
All
I don't.
right. Group 2 is one of the easy ones. The group number is exactly what the charge is. And because it is on the left-hand side of the periodic table, it's going to be a plus. So +2 is going to lose 2 electrons. So that means it will have more protons. So its overall charge will be positive. What charge would X have in this following formula? And this was yesterday's lesson. So you would have to do something called the reverse crisscross to figure it out. So X is just an unknown element. Magnesium, if you know magnesiums, Mg, it's in group 2, but we want to know what X's is just by using this formula. And it was -3. Reverse crisscross, if you had the Mg3, the 3 would actually go over with the X, and the X had a little 2 beside it. That 2 goes with the magnesium. It's called reverse crisscross because you start at the bottom and you crisscross up to the top to get the charges. Because it's the second element, it's negative. It means it was a nonmetal. That was in yesterday's lesson that I recorded and posted for the Google Meet. How many valence electrons does fluorine have? You'll need to look on your periodic table. And what number is going to tell us that on the periodic table? All right, it's 7. Fluorine is in group 7A or 17. And so it's got 7 valence electrons. It is 1 away from having 8. So its charge would actually be -1 because elements want 8 valence electrons to be stable. But when it's just wanting valence electrons, 7. This was in a previous lesson where we were drawing Lewis dot structures for elements. How many valence electrons does sulfur have? So find sulfur on the periodic table. What group number is it?
Lion. That's a dad and a mom. There's no part around her face.
All right, so sulfur is in group 6. It is underneath oxygen on the periodic table. You may see 16 up there depending on which periodic table you're looking at. But it is 6 valence electrons. If you see it with 16, just cover up the 1 and just look at the 6. All right, we're predicting again a charge. And this one's going to be a little bit harder because you need to know Al is aluminum. You need to know aluminum's charge in order to predict X's?
Zero.
All right, so aluminum has a +3 charge. X would have to have a -3, and why you don't see a 3 by either one of them is because just like in math, you have to reduce formulas. And so you would have had to divide it by 3 on both sides. All right, what is the name for this compound? Was in yesterday's lesson.
Oops. I chose
All
blue.
right, I didn't hear you, Nicholas.
I said I chose blue on accident.
Okay.
I,
All right. Uh, oh, this was I didn't. This one's hard. Okay. Um, Copper. If you look on the periodic table, copper is in that middle section called the transition elements, and this was the last part of the lesson yesterday. It can have multiple charges. That's why you see the Roman numerals in parentheses, and you were very close if you chose the blue. Um, you would have to do the reverse crisscross. So you would take the 2 with the fluorine and bring it over to the Cu. And we know fluorine is in group 17 or 7, so it just needs one more electron. So it has a -1. That's why there's no 1 there listed there. So we would know this happens to be the copper that has the 2, or copper 2. It's going to donate 2 electrons when it forms with fluoride. So it was a good guess, but this one was a little bit harder. Not quite, Carolyn. Almost. All right. Let me pause just a minute. Miss Morton wants to join our class, and I've got to send her that link. Give me just a moment.
I know Miss
Edit.
Martin from way back in elementary.
You do.
Yep.
I keep forgetting she worked at elementary.
Yep.
Okay, where is? Oh, I got to make mine bigger. Only problem with split screens here. Add Katie Morton. Save in the following. Okay, send. All right, so she'll be popping in. So let's go back to Coot. Yes, Carolyn. No, I can't because I'm in a class right now. You can play out. Uh-oh, wrong one. You can play outside. Yes, I will. All right, formula for silver nitrate. Notice this one doesn't end in A or IDE, so it's going to be one of the special ones I talked about yesterday. So you got to know silver, and you can narrow it down. Silver's a metal. All right. All right. Nitrate is actually what we call a polyatomic ion. So it's going to be made up of 2 nonmetals, and it's NO3. And so there's a chart that I need to find to give you a link to where you can always look these up. You don't have to memorize polyatomics, but if it ends in ATE, more than likely it's going to be 2 nonmetals that are covalently bonded and are acting as one unit, and we call that a polyatomic ion. There's only one of these that will show up in the metal place, and that is ammonium. It's NH4. That's the only one that is positive. Normally, they will be in the negative anion position or the nonmetal position. So that one was a little bit, again, it was from yesterday's lesson. What is the overall charge for an ionic compound? All right, 0, because the cation's charge and the anion's charge should cancel each other out because one's positive and one is negative. So overall, there should be no overall charge for the compound. All right, I pronounce it cation. You may hear it pronounced differently by different people. All right, it's a positively charged ion. This is going to be your metals. It's going to have the positive charge to it. It's going to have lost or it's going to give away electrons. So it makes it have a positive charge. All right, what is an anion? All right, it's the negatively charged. This is going to be your nonmetal, or most of your polyatomic ions are going to have a negative charge. They're going to receive electrons. Electrons are negative. That means they're going to have more electrons than protons and will carry a charge, a negative charge. Halogens. Now you got to be familiar with the group name. Halogens are group 17 or group 7. So what charge would they have? All right, it should be -1 because they have 7 valence electrons and they need one more to make it to 8 because 8 is considered full. So halogens are group 7A or 17, 7 valence. They need one more to get to 8, so it's a -1 charge. What is the ratio of cations to anions in the following? All right, so you're going to have to look at your subscripts. Look at these little subscripts.
I did not know that.
All right, so if you can, it doesn't show up here, but the parentheses keeps that PO4 together. So you kind of ignore that O has a 4 there. The 3 told you there were, I think it was iron. There were 3 irons. So that meant there would be 3 positive charges. And there were 2 of those polyatomic ions because there was a little 2 out beside the parentheses. And so if you're wanting the ratio, you're getting it from the subscripts. So it'd be 3 to 2. Zinc hydroxide. Zinc hydroxide. Which one is written correctly?
Wow, that was fast.
Hydroxide ion is OH, and it has a -1 charge. So if you do reverse crisscross, that's why zinc is a negative or has a +1, or I mean, it has a 1 down here, no number. OH is 1 unit. If you don't put it inside parentheses and you put it like the blue one, it's going to look like there's only 2 hydrogens when it's 2 of the OHs that are already bonded together. So anytime there's more than 2 capital letters, you may need a parentheses. Again, I went over that in yesterday's lesson.
For 10
What is the
2.
formula for 10,2 chlorite? And this, because this did not end in IDE, you notice it's a polyatomic ion.
Hmm. That was
All
the
right,
last
you've
one.
got chlorate and chlorite, and we don't usually do a lot with chlorite, but it's going to be ClO3 is chlorate, and chlorite is going to be ClO2 for the polyatomic. And you've got your parentheses. This parentheses with the Roman numeral told you that 10's charge was 2 plus. Again, here's another one similar. Formula for chromium 3 sulfide.
Chromium 3 sulfide.
So it ends in "ide," so it's going to be a regular element. That should allow you to narrow it down a little bit. All right, and because it was 3, you needed to find the 3 with the S. If it's IDE, it's just a regular element, so that would have narrowed you down to CRS and CR2S3. And okay, well then come inside then. So you'd need to look up sulfur to make sure what its charge was, because if you chose this one, you're saying that both of them had a charge of 3, with S having a -3, but sulfur has a -2 charge. Well, all right. Name the following. Oh goodness.
That's a big one.
Um, that's not one that well, the second part is arsenate. So you just have to figure out what the Hg is.
Oh my god, I don't even know what this is about to guess. Mercury 2 arsenic.
All right. Again, you would have needed to have crisscrossed, and it took away the picture, so or done the reverse crisscross with the subscripts, and it would have been Mercury having 1, being Mercury 1. It would never be the yellow one because you don't change the first element's name. So the first element is always going to be its original name.
Mercurite.
All right, what compound would form between strontium and oxygen? Strontium is a metal and oxygen would be a non-metal. So I'm going to look up strontium. I want to say it's ST, or I mean SR. There it is. I was going to look and see what column it is in. It must be in uh, group 2. Okay, so they have the same number of charge. Oxygen has a -2. Strontium has a +2. So it's just going to be SRO. What compound would form between zinc and chlorine?
Zinc and chlorine would be CNC, something like that. I think.
All right, zinc is one of those interesting ones that has multiple charges. So chlorine can only have a -1 charge. So that means zinc cannot have a number, a little subscript between it. And so the only option, because zinc has to come first, can't be green. This is zinc and carbon. That is not chlorine there. So it has to be this one. Again, you've got to know how to get the charges, which was in a lesson a couple days ago, and what we did yesterday. What charge would boron have? So find boron on the periodic table, and what charge would it have? It's considered, well, it's kind of a metalloid, but it can act like a metal and it can act like a non-metal, and it generally acts like a metal in ionic bonds. So it'd be +3. It's in group 13 or group 3. Um, oh, that's right. Carol Ann, get your computer for your next meet, please, ma'am. How many electrons does iodine gain to have a noble gas electron configuration? That means to have 8 valence electrons. Iodine, how many more electrons does it need? I will get it in just a minute, Carol Ann. Go ahead and get logged in.
How do I get loaded?
Close. All right, so it's just yeah, not that one. Let's go back here and click here. There you go. Put these on. All right.
No.
Um, name that compound. So it's going to give you a compound KF. How would you name it? Yeah. Do you remember how to do it? Where is she? There you go.
She has glasses
All right. So K is potassium. K is the Latin first letter for potassium. So some of these we have to use the Latin words to get the symbols, and then fluorine, which would be fluoride because we changed the ending to IDE. Name that compound. Again, this was in yesterday's lesson. You would use um, the table that I'm going to link for you, and I think this is barium. So that was acetate. So it would have been on the chart, and I didn't have the chart there for you. So barium acetate. Isn't it over there, Carolyn? I don't have it over here. All right, copper 1 sulfate. What is the formula? Copper 1 sulfate. I know, I don't have the paper over here. All right, 8 is your polyatomic, so you would want to narrow it down to those that had the SO4 in it. Says it's copper 1, there'd be no parentheses because we don't write the 1. Do metals gain, or it should be lose, or lose electrons? Yes. All right, they're going to lose electrons. Carolyn, you're going to have to get up and look for it. It should be over there somewhere. It's under. Okay. Oh. Okay, let's see what the next one is. All right, do nonmetals gain or lose electrons? All right, they're going to gain. That's why they become a negative. All right, so I am going to put a link to this Kahoot so you can review it some more. All right, so I'm going to close that out so it will be quiet. All right, real quick, if you look, oh, I was trying to do something earlier. Go back to modules. I've made announcements show up. Make sure you go under announcements over here and listen to the video I posted yesterday. I am going to make this, I published this. This quiz on bonding is going to be done a little bit differently. It's actually done in quizzes. So when you click on this, you're going to see something for you to just enter your name, and you actually, as far as the way I have it set up, you should be able to take it multiple times. And so I will use your highest score. But you put your name here, click start. This grade will not show up in Canvas until I go in and pull it from quizzes and actually put it in. So you can take it more than once, but I'm going to put the polyatomic chart up. I'm going to put the link to this Kahoot. And then after you've reviewed it some more and done some of your makeup work that you guys haven't done, you need to come in and do this. One other thing, if I can do it real quick, let me get into student mode. I put this at the end of the video in the announcements that I didn't realize was showing up, but I did this within this class. So I'm going to show you. When you go to grades, I have it set to automatically give a 0 for anything that's missing, and you will see missing. The problem is you can't just click here and get to the assignment. You have to make note of the name of it and then go find it under modules. If there's a hyphen here, you haven't done it. It's not been submitted. Now, sometimes it will not show the little paper icon that shows you submitted it. And if you go back to it, like one of these, and you see that you've done it, make sure you did click the submit button. But what I wanted to show you is like right here. I didn't put a grade here, but this is a text box entry. When you click here, this tells you that I've put a comment. And in these comments, it will tell you if you can go back and redo it to resubmit to get a better grade or not. So that's important for you to be able to look at these comments here and to see those. I'm not sure if it shows up if you click on this. Let me see if it shows up. No, yes, you can see it that way too. So there's my comment, and you can add your own comment. And if this was, and you should be able to see your document here. I'm not sure if it works for Cami submitted documents or not. You may have to go to the actual assignment to see it, but it should have it here. So in that video, I explained what I'm expecting when you miss a meet and you do this assignment, how I'm expecting that paragraph to be, and how to find these comments. Because you need to be able to go back and look at your graded work and see any comments that I put, especially if I say that you can redo it. And with the Cami stuff, it's easy to redo. You just unsubmit. The problem is it erases your answers. So you may want to take a screenshot of what I had and what I had written before you go in and make changes. So I wanted to point that out before we got off. So we went over a little bit because we were reviewing. Tomorrow we're going to look at covalent bonding, and we're getting to the end of this unit. And that means we're going to probably test Monday-ish on this whole unit, and we're going to move into our last unit for chemistry, which is chemical reactions. All right, any questions before I go, if we can hear over my daughter doing her lesson?
No.
So many students have lots and lots and lots of missing assignments. So others will be listening to this video. So I'm just stating this out there. You need to get your work in. So this is your second 9 weeks grade. You've got to get stuff in. You've got to do stuff daily and get things turned in. You've got to message me if you don't understand something so I can explain it. Listen to the lessons I put up, the videos, etc. So work on getting caught up. I'm going to stop presenting now. All right. Any questions? Anything you need to say, Miss Morton, before we leave?
No, just James, if you need any help, just shoot me an email, okay? And we'll get you caught up.
Yep.
Can we schedule any Google Meets? Like, or can you put your Google Meet like link so we can schedule one with you if we need help?
Are you talking to me,
Miss Morton.
Miss Morton?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I can email it to you.
All right.
And then mine, to make it, is always on my home page.
Yeah, where it says schedule a Google Meet.
Yeah.
All right.
Bye, Mommy. Okay.
All right. Well, I'm going to stop recording. And remember, we